Man, Harry, we're getting closer and closer to March, right? And it's crazy, right? Yesterday we had a fantastic live. Today it's not a live. We're gonna do just a recap on last year's fifth round draft pick, right? Matt Waletzko, right? Did I say his name right?
I think that's how you say it, Matt Waletzko.
Matt
So
Waletzko.
it's weird name, but yeah,
I mean, a lot of people had a lot of well, I know that for Cowboy Nation, a lot of Cowboy Nations last year when I was talking to them, they were excited about the depth on the offensive line, right? And that was the thing, because so many people didn't understand exactly how Tyler Smith was going to fit into the equation. But I think it's easy to see that the Cowboys hit a home run with Tyler Smith, huh?
yeah, they did, man, definitely for sure. I think the biggest thing is his versatility, playing guard and left tackle. Like you can't beat that, man.
And I mean, coming up, it's going to be free agency and then the NFL draft. I think today, right? Today is Tuesday, February 21st. I believe that marks the first day of teams being able to franchise tag players, if I'm not mistaken. So, starting today, NFL teams can designate their franchise or transition players. Um, what do you think? Do you think the Cowboys are going to make a move on this? Or are they going to exercise the transition or franchise tag?
I mean, the consensus, honestly, everybody, I think is it's gonna be Pollard, man. I think that's the consensus with everybody. Um, Personally, me, man, like I said, thinking long term, right? I just think we let Pollard walk, man. I know it's hard to say, right? And I'm saying it out of my heart because I love Pollard. Don't get me wrong, he's a weapon, man. But I think we need to add more pieces, and I think running back is one of those things that there's plenty of them in the NFL. There's some in the NFL draft. I don't know. It's tough, man. What do you do, right? Like I don't know. It's just a hard situation, but I think ultimately Pollard's going to get tagged. I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's between 10 to 11 mil. I think that's what's going to happen, man.
Now, please, okay, please take it easy on Harv, okay? Don't be too hard. He's not bashing on Tony Pollard. We both
No.
know Tony Pollard is a weapon, but we are hoping that he's able to come back from that injury, right? That
Yeah.
he suffered in the 49er game, and that's the hard part, right? Harv is not that you're devaluing him because of the injury or anything like that. I mean, look at the Giants. Harv, they're not going to franchise tag Saquon Barkley,
But
and
that's
Saquon
and that
Barkley was their fifth overall pick.
but that's what I'm trying to get at, man. And I think you have to think as a franchise and not emotionally, right? Emotion is what gets you. Why would they not tag him? Because they know they can get another running back in this draft. I mean, it's sad to say, right? But it's true. They can get another running back, maybe do a running back committee. That's the sad part about the NFL as running backs, man. It's
That
true.
that and is Daniel Jones worth the $45 million contract, right? So I think that's where the Giants are kind of stuck in the hard place, and so are the Cowboys. I mean, I believe the how much is it going to be for 49 mil for Dak Prescott this season?
Yep, 49.5, I believe.
So that's what makes it so difficult, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a part of the business, and then a lot of the players know this is a business, right? So let's get right
Yeah.
into Matt Waletzko, right? Out of
Well, let's go.
North Dakota, offensive tackle. Let's look at his scouting report, man. 6'7", 5'8", Harv. That's like
A,
wrestler size right there, man.
a big man.
Hey, 312 pounds though. That's not a he's not too heavy though. That means
No.
he can carry he probably can add some weight. Hand
Yep.
size 10 and a quarter. That's a pretty big hand. Arm 36 and 1/8. Wingspan 7'1". That's insane. 7 foot
That
one
is
and five
insane.
eighths. 40-yard dish is 503. He didn't do the three cone or earth shuttle. His vertical jump was 30, broad jump 95. This is his positives. Long limbs with excellent arm length and room to add more weight to his frame. Shows good initial quickness in the zone run game on backside cutoffs and to get into his fit on combo block. Okay. Solid movement skills at the second level on his climb as a puller and on screens to line up smaller targets. Has enough pop in his hands to create displacement at the point of attack on combo blocks to feed the defensive tackle over to his guard before starting his climb. These are his negatives because, of course, you gotta outweigh, positive negative. Has an up kick out of his stance and pass protection that forces him to open his hips towards wide rush angles, crossover, and play with a narrow base. Man, doesn't that sound like Trent Williams?
This.
Marginal marginal contact balance, play strength, and anchoring ability will get thrown around in the pro game. Sporadic strike timing and location leaves him whiffing and losing too quickly against sudden rushers who can set him up with stutters and hesitations. Footwork in the run game leaves him disjointed and off balance and angle drive blocks. Rolls onto his toes in the drive portion of blocks, creating a forward lean and
Yeah.
propensity to fall off blocks. So 2021 statistics, here they are. 10 starts at left tackle, first team all MVFC selection, and he was also a team captain there. These are side notes. Former two-star offensive tackle recruit out of Rocori High School in Cold Springs, Minnesota. He also had offers from North Dakota State and Northern Iowa. Lettered in basketball and baseball. Whoa, that's kind of good. That's good to that. Those are good side notes. Side notes to know he's an athlete. 21 career starts at left tackle. Harv. This is good right here, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty good,
Suffered
man. Yeah, for sure.
Suffered a shoulder injury in week 10 of the 2021 season, forcing him to miss the last game of the season against South Dakota State, and was invited and accepted his invite to the 2022 Senior Bowl game. Wow.
Yeah. So the Cowboys already knew he was hurt. They knew he needed surgery. They already knew that coming into the draft.
Okay, so what was the injury that he had? Was that
So
a similar thing?
the injury was a subluxation defined as partial dislocation, becomes more common the more it happens. So it's the shoulder and the pec. So while Waletzko was able to strengthen the joint twice before return playing shape, he increased the likelihood of re-injuring the shoulder each time. So the Cowboys just decided, man, a third time's enough, and that surgery was gonna. They knew he needed surgery, but they thought he could play through it, and they just moved him onto the due list, and he got surgery, man, and that was his
I will say
22.
I will say this about Waletzko is that using this is something that they kept on saying. Waletzko wins using good initial quickness out of his stance,
He
which is
does.
that was a big thing. Harvard, remember they said that it was Tyler Smith. He was out of his stance late, and that's what caused them to cause Dak to break his finger, right? And so how do you feel though? How does the Matt Waletzko pick from a year ago, giving him time to recuperate? How does that affect what the Cowboys do in the offseason, whether it be free agency or through the draft? Does that make it a need at this specific position?
I mean, if the Cowboys feel highly of him, I don't think it is. Honestly, man. I mean, they do things and you kind of wonder like why are they doing that? But everything falls into place, man. And I think I mean, you talking about he's what almost 6'8", 7'1" wingspan? Like there's not very many dudes walking around with that wingspan like that. And not only that, but all that is true, man. The little bit I got to see him was the Seahawks game in the preseason. He played a little bit. And they're right, man. When he has to help in the run game and he helps that guard, man, he's taking that whole side basically to the right side is pretty insane, man. He's nasty too. He likes to finish plays. So, but they are right. He does lean. He tries to put his hands on somebody and he tries to push so much effort that he kind of loses control and they kind of get away from him. But that's teachable, man. All those things are teachable. But you're talking about 6'8", 312 pounds. Maybe he weighs more now. Um, but I like it, man. I just watching the film from him. There's not a lot of film on him because he came from a small school, but I don't know, man. I like it. I think the Cowboys might be like, you know what? We don't really need to spend a draft pick on the O line. Maybe the interior, but he's definitely a swing tackle. I think in my eyes, for sure.
If anything, it you're saying more so, it doesn't make it a need to go offensive line in the first round, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So if anything,
But
it should give us a sigh of relief, right? As far as
yeah.
like last year was kind of crazy. They said that
So we'll
his player comp was Larnell Coleman, who actually was listed. He played for UMass and plays for he actually plays for the Carolina Panthers. Well, now with Miami. I'm sorry, now with Miami, and so that's his actual player comp. But the good thing is that we understand that the Cowboys do have that depth because I think Tyron Smith is kind of there too, right? We don't really understand his certainty. Terrence Steele is under. I mean, he probably won't be back. He won't be back till what, middle of the year in 2023. Harv.
yep, yep.
So if
So
Waletzko is able to come back, maybe we can see if he can pick it up. I know that we were talking about it, and a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of the Cowboys offensive linemen, they see a certain individual, and people don't know this, right? And shout out, right? Because obviously, a lot of times I do, you got to go in there and do your little research, and you come across names. And shout out to Big Boys, man, Big Boys Club, right? We found this about specifically in the Frisco area. It's Duke Manyweather. So a lot of people, and keep this in mind. He's young. He's a young cat just like us. Harvard. That's kind of crazy, right? To think they're already calling him the guru
oh
of
man.
offensive linemen, and his name is, like I said, Duke Manyweather. He actually works with he's actually worked with every top offensive lineman from Penny Sewell to, I mean, you name it. He's worked with everybody, but he's out of Frisco. And this is who the a lot of the Cowboys offensive linemen go and see. And in fact, some people have said that this is why Terrence Steele made that transition from year one to year two. So can you imagine Tyler Smith and Matt Waletzko being able to go and work with that with Duke Manyweather and have the same kind of outcome as Terrence Steele? How confident do you feel about that, knowing that the Cowboys have that kind of resource there in that area at Harvard?
I mean, there's not a lot of teams that have that. Some
They
teams
don't,
have to
right?
travel. Some players have to travel across country. So I mean, I think Mike McCarthy hit it on it too. What better place to be in Dallas where you can all your resources are right there and you really don't have to go far. So I mean, that's you know what I'm saying that I think that's why Terrence Steele took that step, man. I thought he was going to be an okay player, but his second year, man, he played very well. So I mean, it's a luxury, right?
I think at this point, I mean, seeing all this, right, gathering all this information, it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable going into the offseason, knowing that in Will McClay, we've already said it. In Will McClay, we trust. Yes or no, Harv? Didn't
That's
we say
it.
that?
We trust, man. He's the MVP.
Hey, he is the real MVP here, man. So I think if anything, this is going to be a coming out party for Matt. Well, let's go, and maybe potential even a like you said, if he's not if he's not a starting tackle, offensive tackle for the Cowboys, he's definitely a tackle that you can count on, right, to be that swing tackle. Because nowadays it's not about just the five offensive linemen. You got to have that six man, right? And it's like
Yep,
it's almost like basketball, right? Harv?
for sure, man.
So luckily in today's episode, obviously, it was just covering the actual player himself, right? and understanding that the Cowboys have the resources, and we don't need to go into the free agency and spend a lot of money on a offensive lineman, and we don't need to go into a draft and spend the first round pick on this because Cowboys did their homework last year, and I like this prospect. I don't know how you feel, Harv. Any last
I
thoughts?
do no, I do like him. He's raw. He's still got a lot to learn, but I think the upside, man, you can't you can't beat the upside, right? But I'll give you this tidbit, and I'll leave him thinking about it. You got to think, if we're thinking about him and he hasn't played all year and he's had the whole year to develop, and the Cowboys say, "Well, we got our swing tackle, maybe," right? You also got to think on the flip side. What about Jalen Tolbert?
Man, I want to see him develop,
In
man.
this offense though, where it slants, outs, drags, and it's quick. It's a West Coast. Does this fit him better than the last offense did? So
Oh yeah,
That's a question to. It
we're gonna
goes
brew
both
on.
ways.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna brew on that one. But well, that's it for us, man. I mean, we're gonna be on the live pretty soon, so I hope for those that did join in and watch this special on Matt Waletzko and saying about, hey, know that we're not, we're not we're not in desperation in free agency or the draft to go, offensive lineman. Let's give what we have homegrown, right, which is Cowboys philosophy. Make sure you tune into our live. And the only way to do it is by making sure you hit the subscribe button, like, share. Hey, but those that subscribe, this cat right here, Lyman, lead the way. Shout out to them, making some great caps out there. To also shout out to True Brand also for the caps also. We appreciate you guys getting our cap game right. But yes, thank you all, and that's it for us. Tune in. Make sure, like I said, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we're live. Typically, we're live around 6:30 to about 7 p.m. Central Time. So that's it for us. We'll see you guys soon.
Keep it real.